All right, my friends, let's talk about defining the product. Now, in defining the product, it's very important that you visualize the product at the highest level when you're talking about the world of Agile. So, as you break down the work, unlike what we do in the predictive world, breaking down a work breakdown structure into the different levels and where we think about it as a hierarchical decomposition of the project work, instead, when we're defining the product in the world of Agile, we want to think about this as a product decomposition where our focus is primarily on the product first before everything else. So we're going to focus on the product. Just because we're doing Agile doesn't mean we're going to go away from traceability. We still need to make sure things are traceable, just like we did in a traditional world, but the way we do it is different. So we talk about a requirement traceability matrix in the world of predictive, but in this world, we look at product traceability, and we want to make sure that all the way down to the bottom level of tasks, we want to be able to trace that up through the ranks as far as how it tapers into the product. So generally, the way we break down work in the world of Agile is at the top of the hierarchy, we have the product. Again, it's more of product focused than project focused. It's more of product focused than work focused. The project is in essence a time box. The product is a very significant life cycle. So think about it like this. A project life cycle is all the life of the product, even outside the life of a project. The project life cycle is one tiny little piece within the product. And that's why at this level, we want to think about product. Now, the product lives for a very long time. Projects are just for a short span of time. Let's even say the project is 3 years long. The product obviously lives much longer. It could live for tens of years. So we look at the product life cycle as our primary focus. Now, at the product level, this is defining whatever the thing is, the big vision, the big mission, the thing itself we're trying to implement, and why we're trying to implement it. This is the way we need to be thinking at this level. We need to focus a lot on the why behind the product, because that helps us understand a lot better what exactly we're doing. What exactly are we part of? And that's why sharing the vision with a team is extremely important. Now, below that, we're going to introduce a term known as epics. And epics in this world of Agile are huge chunks of functionality. These are huge chunks of functionality, more of a business value focus than a step in what we're implementing. Get it? So when you think about epics, you need to think about big chunks of functionality that are going to add value, something that could potentially bring value to our customers. Now, this is something that, of course, in the world of predictive, you're not really used to. You're not really used to thinking about a WBS with a value lens, but I want you to change your orientation and think about breaking down the product in an Agile setting. So think about it this way. We're looking at what value we can produce. Now, this gives us opportunities to prioritize in a different way. We prioritize first based on value and second based on sequencing and other things. Think about it this way. Epics, features, and stories. These are things that could potentially bring value to our customers. And the reason why we say potentially is just because we implement this one thing, there may not be enough value or enough functionality to make it usable by our customers. So for example, if you're building an online banking application, imagine putting a login screen as part of that application. The ability to log in. Now, while that is functionality that is needed and valuable, it does nothing for your customers. It might do stuff for IT and security folks, but for you as a customer, you may not see that as immediate value. You're going to have to add a whole bunch more functionality to create that first release to your customers. So the first release in the world of Agile, we'll call it the MVP, minimum viable product. That's another core concept that we need to make use of. What we're trying to do is to implement the smallest amount of functionality possible while still achieving the best outcome possible. And we also want to achieve the most valuable feedback possible. We want to build less to get better outcomes. We want to build less and get more in the outcome. Think about that. Now, obviously, there are differences between software and hardware. In the world of software, we get away adding functionality, taking out functionality a lot easier than we would in a physical product world. The MVP might have more functionality in the physical product than it would in the software world. In software, we can easily or more easily add functionality to things. We don't have to do all that we would in a physical product to create another release, so to speak. But you still get the picture, right? Our goal is to add incremental return to get the product out faster with high quality, high outcome, happy customers, okay? So this is just one way to break the work down. Product at the top, epic is below. Remember, large chunks of functionality that we could potentially get value from. And below that, we typically call those features, those smaller chunks of functionality, features. So we have product, epic, and at this next level, we have what we call features. Now you're beginning to see a mnemonic brewing. Phil eats fries, but he doesn't eat fries all the time. I'll tell you in a minute. I'll tell you in a minute how often he eats fries. So product, epic, functionality. Now, while we are at this feature level, it's smaller chunks of functionality, but it's still too much stuff to complete within the average 2-week sprint. Then below that, Phil eats fries seldomly. Oh, thank goodness. I've been in a battle with fries for the largest number of years. And don't forget, still on this level, we have another thing called defects. Why? We have defects at this level, and it's something that we need to talk about at some point, but we have things like technical debt. When we talk about defects, we're talking about things that need to be fixed. We got away with them in previous releases or previous iterations, but we need to go back and clean it up. We call it technical debt. We'll talk about that in the future. Now, the final level in this picture I'm showing you is Tuesdays. Phil eats fries seldomly on Tuesdays. Now that's going to create a ridiculous image, a ridiculous mnemonic. You'll never forget it now. So product, epic, feature, story, and then task. So what do we mean by stories? The stories are what we are building. So at this level, we've gotten it down to the point where we can bring it into the sprint, and it's understandable. But we go to an even lower level on some endeavors, not all, not in every single endeavor, but you could break that down into the task level. And you could estimate each of those tasks and define who's going to work on the task. And you can get a very clear picture of how work is going to be done on the sprint at this level. Okay? So the sprint plan is the stories and below. And other planning, at a higher level planning, we're thinking about features and above. Not every Agile project will tackle the work this way or break it down this way or define it this way, but this is really just to help with your sanity so that when you're taking your exam, be it the PMP or the ACP, you at least have a framework in mind about how these things fit and how you should be thinking. And this will begin to sink in a lot more as we proceed. I know a lot of you have not really been privy to this world in the jobs you do. I know many of you have, but some of you have not. And that's why Roy and I, my co-trainer and I, we've put together the Project Management Masterclass. And Project Management Masterclass is a vehicle to help those who don't have enough knowledge either in the world of predictive or in the world of Agile to come aboard and learn. And we have another class coming up. We have these classes every month. I would encourage you to go on down to our website, projectmanagementmasterclass.com. If what you've learned has helped you and you feel, my goodness, I need more of that stuff, well, come on down to Project Management Masterclass, right? We've got another session coming up quick. Sign up. Let's see you there and let's blow this thing up.